Our currency is crashing and will soon no longer be the world standard, which will be our greatest defeat, frankly, in 200 years.
It's really hard to overstate exactly how catastrophic the abandonment of the U.S. dollar would be.
China and Brazil just agreed to ditch the US dollar. India will trade in rupees going forward, ditching the US dollar. The president of Kenya tells citizens to get rid of the US dollar. China's yuan has replaced the US dollar as the most traded currency in Russia for the first time. Saudi's prince says he's no longer interested in pleasing the United States. Malaysian prime minister says there's no reason to continue to depend on the US dollar. Not to mention BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa creating a new currency. What in the bloody currency war is going on? I mean, this all sounds terrifying. So in this video, we're going to discuss what is a currency collapse, what causes a currency collapse, and could the US dollar collapse? But before we do that, please smash the like and subscribe button because apparently it helps with the algorithm. So thank you so much. And with that said, let's get into it. So first, it is important to mention that the dollar has been the global reserve currency since 1921 for over 90 years. While the average lifespan of a global reserve currency is about 100 years. The dollar was pegged to gold, and most other currencies were pegged to the dollar, so the dollar became widely used to conduct international trades and financial transactions. And that's how the dollar became the global reserve currency. But the dollar is no longer backed by gold, and it has not been for a long time. So why is the dollar still the global reserve currency? Well, check this. In order for a dollar to have value, society needs to believe that the United States has value, meaning everything within the economy has to prove that the economy is going well. That includes taxpayers, businesses, valuable assets, and everything else. In fact, this is exactly how the United States was able to get off the gold standard and still maintain the global reserve currency status. It is because it had so much economic value. And still today, the US is still the biggest economy in the world by far, with an annual GDP of $23 trillion. So what is a currency collapse? A currency collapse is when there's no longer any trust that the asset, country, or organization has sufficient economic value to reflect the currency. Remember when I said that in order for a dollar to have value, society needs to believe that the United States has value. Well, right now there are about 11 foreign countries that use the US dollar as their official currency, and more than 65 other countries peg their currency to the US dollar. So if society decided today that the United States no longer had any economic value, I can almost guarantee you that these countries would almost immediately stop using the dollar as a reserve currency, which would be classified as a currency collapse. But then again, with a $23 trillion annual GDP, I don't think we'd have to worry about that anytime soon. But then, what other ways can a currency collapse happen? Well, there is hyperinflation, which is basically when the currency becomes less valuable. $10 might buy you a 12 case of Pepsi today, and then tomorrow, that same $10 only buys you 6. The currency's value becomes less and less and less, and this can create a spiral in it becoming practically worthless. Then there is political instability. When there is a military coup, a war, or any other event resulting in political instability, a country's currency can often be a casualty. Now, this is not something we expect to see in the United States, but you know, anything can happen. Then you have high debt. When a country has very high debt in a shrinking economy, this can cause a flight of assets and the collapse of the currency. Now, many countries have high levels of debt these days. I mean, the US is prime example, but this is all relative to the underlying economy. Oh, my lights just died, so I had to open the window. Anyways, so could the US dollar collapse? I mean, listen, bottom line, currencies can and do collapse, and the dollar is not exempt. But unlike any other country in the world, the US dollar has a very special place in the global financial system, and that is because it is the global reserve currency, meaning it is considered as the safest currency there is. And despite all the uncertainty around the world, the US still remains one of the most stable countries there is. So for the US dollar to collapse, it would take something pretty major, like you not smashing the like button, for example, or World War III type situation. And the chances of that happening are very slim. But that is still something to take serious, because if all the global power, if all the emerging economies come together to ditch the US dollar, the collapse could come faster than we think. Anyways, guys, that's it for today. If you like this content, please subscribe. Also, you can find me on Instagram, link down below. Till next time, stay awesome. Peace.